I have described Johnny, as many people have, as having cinematic brilliance or having a deep reservoir of emotional intelligence, which is what it takes to play the parts that he plays. But one of the things that Johnny has is a deep humanity.
I've never heard a bad word said about Johnny Depp.
Me neither, actually.
Yeah, so how do you pull that off?
He is lovely. There's no bad side to the man. I've worked with him 3 times, and I've never seen him be anything but charming with everybody on set, from the person that cleans the trailer to the producers of the movie. He is generous with his time and giving of himself, and as an actor, he is only interested in making the scene better.
You know, listen, the man that I know and love is the man who's here tonight and who's like on form and does everything the right way. And you know, people go through all kinds of weird stuff in the world, and it's just a shame that it has to be dragged out into the public, because God knows he's been one of the most private and stand-up people I've ever met. So
he's really a very unique human being, as you can see. We all know how talented he is, but he's so much more than that. He's one of the smartest people in this planet. He's so quick and so funny and clever, and he's very inspiring, and you feel very fortunate to be able to spend time with him. And as an actor, to be able to share scenes with him, it's a very big privilege. But just to be around him, just to spend time with him, and you can learn a lot from him, a lot.
Johnny walked over, went to shake my hand. He had these prosthetic fingers, and so he held his hand out and then kind of thought the better of it and held his elbow out instead. And I just thought, oh, it just humanized him from the start.
As always with Johnny, it was really beautiful work.
No, he's fantastic. I love Johnny. I mean, really, he is the kindest, most gracious and warm, funny person to work with, really.
There is no such a favorite moment, like every moment is favorite, in the sense that you are in front of one of the most scary, nice, generous actors you can play with. When he became Sparrow, for me, was like a gift from my own eyes.
He's a little bit enchanting, not in a romantic way, but like there's something kind of like childlike and fascinating about him, and he has this fascination with the world and things around it. I mean, I think he's a very curious individual, and they're very mysterious, obviously.
he didn't just support us while we were in prison. He's been with us every single step of the way since we've gotten out. He's become like a brother to me.
Oh, he's the best, and unfortunately the media kind of picks on certain people, and it was his turn in the barrel, but he's a fabulous guy, a great artist.
He's a really sweet guy, and he's wonderful to work with,
He is one of the kindest people I've ever met in my life, and so sincere. And he seems almost like he doesn't want people to really know he's that nice.
Yeah,
almost.
but he is.
Goes against his bad boy image.
That's true. Yeah. But he's very sweet. He was talking about his child on the show, and his face
baby.
just lit up. It was so touching to see.
Yeah.
Magical. He is. He's a creature. He's a real, true artist.
It was wonderful. He's a great guy, and he's a brilliant artist, and a very, very generous actor, and just extremely, extremely cool.
When you film, Johnny Depp is like Princess Diana. There's like 4,000 people lined up to see this guy, and he would meticulously go down the row and sign everybody's autograph. And he was a real trooper in that, and it was kind of amazing, to see that after a 12, 14-hour day, he would do that.
Johnny's just a step ahead of everyone. And I think that's really what makes him so fantastic, is that he's a true artist, and that he achieved the heights of the movie business on that is such a credit to his talent, and his tenacity.
I suppose he's got that sort of unique combination of extreme warmth and generosity, and doesn't take himself very seriously, and is sort of, there's something inherently kind of accessible about him, as well as being utterly mysterious. It's that sort of contradiction that I think probably makes movie stars.
Johnny Depp's a gifted actor who
has a fearless approach to his work and is ambitious and wants to go to some strange, wonderful places, which makes him perfect for Grindelwald.
Always he's, calm and gentle, even for the extras, so, kind and warm. He created a great atmosphere on set.
Have you recovered from Johnny Depp chatting to you and giving you a bottle of champagne?
Do you know what? I don't think we ever will, to be honest.
Who talked to who first?
Well, my husband went, all right, Johnny, when he sat down, and I was like, no, Dave, play it cool. And he was taking off his jacket and said, I've been running late. I left my passport behind. Excuse the accent, it's not the best. And then it kind of just, we were throwing comments, back and forth, and then he got champagne, and we said it's a really nice way to end our first anniversary, and then that topic came up, and we ended up cheersing. It was, the whole thing is just so surreal. He was so humble and kind, and just, he seemed interested in, our life. It was almost like we were just talking to another passenger.
I have to tell you that I have never met anyone with a more bizarre sense of humor, nor have I ever met anyone any kinder and gentler than on a first, just a first meeting than he was. When we were on set, anytime that we wrapped for the day and he was still there, even though my son Mark was there with me to help me with my coat and everything, because it was cold. It was in the fall, November and December, January. And he would always come over, make sure, have you got your gloves on? Do you have everything, that you need? Are you okay? And kiss me on the cheek and tell me, bye, Mama, I'll see you tomorrow.
I would not have made the movie without Johnny Depp.
Why is that?
Well, because he's my partner, and it's the part that he was born to play. I can't imagine anybody else doing it.
With Johnny, I take my hat off to Johnny. He's just one of the great character actors who happens to be trapped in the body of a leading man. His absurd humor, his level of invention, there's no cliches in there. Like, he's created such an idiosyncratic, likable character, enviable character, because he just spins a compass and goes, I'll go there and see what happens.
Nice. There's a rule in the film business that whoever that #1 star is on the call sheet, the rest of us actors get to act or not act based on how that person's behavior is. So if that #1 star is a class person, everyone's got to kind of toe the line of being a class act. That's Johnny's story.
How cool was it that he came and did that? It was fantastic.
So cool.
And let me tell you, when he started speaking, you could have heard a pin drop.
I know.
There was this aura in the room. It was incredible. And suddenly we were all on. Everyone was like, yeah, and it was just respect.
He's such a soulful and thoughtful and gentle-natured person.
He is hilarious. He's fantastic to work with. I would say comedic genius.
No, he was the nicest young man. He was very polite. He called people sir and ma'am. Johnny was very rockabilly then. He'd been a musician. He is a musician, but I think he still had his band then. I don't know if they followed him out from Florida or not. I can't remember, but Johnny dressed very rockabilly. He had the best hair. All I remember was he had the best hair. I wanted his hair. He had that great quiff in the front, and he dressed kind of rockabilly with the, stovepipe black slacks and Levi's and stuff. He was pretty cool.
It's always great to work with Johnny. Just the adventure of making a movie with him, and what they really adventures is how he comes up with ideas, how he comes up with dialogue, how he changes scenes, how he makes us look really smart. But he's the one who does all the hard work and comes up with all the great ideas.
It's not like most people we know.
There is something offbeat about him that is intriguing and ultimately attractive.
Incredible experience getting to work with that guy, and he's a character. He's amazing. He's every bit as cool as you don't think it's possible for him to be.
That just blew my mind, what you just said.
Very fun. Very fun. Very fun between takes. Really friendly, approachable. I mean, I know I was kind of geeked out to work with him, and I think he goes out of his way to make sure everyone feels comfortable.
The whole set buzzed when he came on.
Yeah,
Everyone was like, "That's Johnny's section." The driver was like, "Johnny's here. Johnny's just left." Is that how has he? Great.
He is a unicorn. We use that word.
He is a dear friend and he's a brother.
I was expecting the big movie star type, but no, he was very down to earth and very polite, which was lovely.
I was impressed by how much he just loves acting. He really worked as an actor, first and foremost, and not as a star, and I was very impressed with that.
He's sort of perfect.
Johnny is, my experience with him was we were lucky that he was our star.
Yeah.
He's a classy dude, honestly. And there's a lot of negative bullshit about Johnny that I'm sure is like a rival PR campaign.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I've worked with him in a number of years now, but my experience was he was the nicest one ever to the fans, ever, of that magnitude. So he'll always have my respect, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome.
But he's a gentleman, and he's a professional.
Oh, he's a good kisser. Let's admit it.
Johnny Depp comes out the trailer and he goes, "Hey, Shamir Anderson, heard a lot about you. Pleasure to meet you. Pleasure to meet you. Happy to have you here." And then he gives me a hug. And at that moment is when I said, my life's complete.
He's a genius. He's one of the greatest actors of our generation.
It was so easy. He was just open arms and laughter, fun, but also, God, anything he talks about, he's really done his homework on this. And I know he's like very offhand and cool, but he really knows his onions.
And he was just this kind of bright-eyed guy, just very, very sweet, really sweet guy. He was very sensitive to the situation he was coming into.
See, Johnny is fabulous to work with. He's such a gentleman, and he's such a wonderful, creative, crazy, zany actor, and he's very respectful of the people he works with.
I'd love to. I've loved working with him. He's been an absolute inspiration to me and really fantastic work with.
He spent 2 hours in the Children's Hospital going through the oncology ward, dressed as Captain Jack Sparrow, delighting the children. He's handing out gold coins, posing for selfies, having lots of hugs with the kids. They absolutely loved it.
I just can't believe that he came. When I was walking down the corridor, I kind of suspected that it might be somebody famous because everybody is holding cameras and everything like that. And then he was just there near the elevators, and I was like, holy moly! I even got to give him a hug, and it was so good, like lots of hugs. He's like a giant teddy. He's funny, he's not very focused, but he's really fun to have around and makes you laugh and makes you feel good about yourself and stuff like that.
He is, more than anything, the loveliest, sweetest, and most fun co-star you could imagine.
I just think he's wonderful.
He is a creative force and an extraordinary man in so many ways, and so kind and so wonderful to work with, and generous beyond belief.
He's one of the most talented young actors, maybe the 2 or 3 most talented young actors of my lifetime.
But Johnny is one of the most caring, respectful people to all the other actors. One of the most that I've ever seen in my entire career. He's really generous, really thoughtful.
I had a scene which was quite hard on me and quite upsetting, and I was taking a break after it, and I was kind of a mess, and he came over and he just started telling me wacky stories about his life, and it really did distract me and cheered me up. Aww. And he could sense what was going on, and he was a good friend in that moment. Aww. It was really lovely. That's so lovely.
He's a complete delight because he's a
fellow actor on the set. You're not aware of anything else. Just huge sense of humour, always available, but incredible concentration and very sharing.
I mean, he has become an especially big star. You know, he really is a kind of enormous character. I mean, I think anything he made, if you gave him, you know, encyclopedia to read or something, he'd make it interesting.
He was just a trooper, a real gent and fun, and totally sort of obsessed with the business of building a character. He flew in 3 months before we started and just spent days walking up and down, trying on different kinds of clothes, getting the walk right, getting the hat right, getting the sideboards right. He was there kind of obsessed with the part.
Oh, look at how cute he is. The matching tattoos. You know, this right here. You know why? No fucking reason. It's John Depp. You know what? He looks sad there. You know why is that sad? Because he's not with me right now. Because we're best friends. We just want to hold each other. Can I get a tissue?
He was really, really great fun, really great guy. And he just made you feel so comfortable.
He is just such a giving person. He embodies his character. He's got lots of stories, and he brings all of himself to the role every time.
I just love Johnny Depp, and he's only on like once every year or so, and I'm always sad when he leaves.
It's fun. Johnny's great. He's a great guitar player, though. Really good guitar player. And all the stuff you've heard about him, weighing 118 pounds and being drunk all the time, and it's all absolutely bull. You know, I just did a whole tour with him. I've never seen him in better shape.
He's such a real human being. Is the opposite of what most people think of when they think of like insanely famous people. He's the anti-Bruce, I like to say.
There's nobody I admire more than Mr. Depp.
But what really stood out to me is just, you know, how great a person he is, and how great a friend he's been to me. So yeah, he's brilliant.
Johnny Depp is a national treasure. I think he is an actor unlike any other. He's an actor who takes huge risks. He's an actor who really does it for his artistic reward, personal reward. It just so happens that he's one of the biggest movie stars in the world.
Working with him was the most gratifying and kind of inspiring thing that I've ever done.
When I was shooting Pirates, the whole time I was pregnant from the beginning, and the way that he was with me, the way they took care of me, I will remember that for the rest of my life.
He is a stupidly generous human being, and that extends to his behavior on set.
The very first day, I did a very tiny scene with him, and he had to shout at me. And he turned to Ken Browner and said, "I can't shout at Derek Jacobi." I fell in love with him immediately.
He was so lovely to work with. He has this extraordinary kind of intensity in his character, but he also has a charm and a kind of playfulness in Grindelwald that I think it's not as easy as him just being a sort of bad guy, the character. He sort of seduces you at the same time and charms you and begins to kind of mess with your head and go, what am I thinking here?
Yeah. You cannot think of a 50-year-old actor that's cooler than Johnny Depp.
No, that's right.
So he's got this incredible charm, charisma, and this presence that I think is attractive to not only, you know, adults, but absolutely women of all ages, because he's such a handsome guy. But also kids think he's cool too.
I only did like half a day with him, but like you're just, I don't know, I felt like I was back at school trying to like hang out with a cool guy, you know, and he's kind of like, you're just hoping a bit of it will just land on you for like an hour, like, because you're just, I don't know, you're kind of just, yeah man, so cool, what are you, you know, and I don't wear bangles and necklaces and stuff, and if I did, I'd look stupid, and yet it all just works with him, it all just flows off him, so I was pleased just to be in his orbit for an afternoon.
He's such a nice human, you know, he's so humble, he's so caring.
Johnny will sit there, stand there, sign autographs, take pictures after the show for like a while at the rope line. Yeah, he is that cool.
being in his company feels like you feel like something different's going on in the room. He's amazing.
Johnny's too humble of a guy to tell you the truth, which is that, and never really talk about himself, and which is that Johnny was a driver of this project from day one, and it mattered, and we talked about it a lot. And he talked my ear off. He doesn't like to talk about it and these things publicly because he'll never, you know, stand up and take credit for, you know, how much he cares about these things, and he never is out there saying, look at me in that way. But this came from him, and all the passion and all of what we were able to do in terms of pulling it together, in terms of the messaging, in terms of everything that we all cared about on this film, it came out of Johnny's heart and Johnny's passion.
Oh, I love Johnny. I think Johnny is one of the most gifted young actors, or old actors, that I've ever worked with. Well, if you look at the stuff he's done before this, Benny and June, and Gilbert Grape, and Edward Scissorhand, and the subjective quiet work, here he's playing this overt character, this theatrical character. He's wonderful. He comes in prepared, ready to work, and professional. It's like playing tennis with a hell of a good player. It makes your game better. And I love working with Johnny. Johnny and I are pals.
Johnny was a very interesting young man to watch. He's very sort of eclectic and sort of eccentric, and he was interesting. He was interesting.
He came in, he had photos with the crew, and especially spent some time with my kids. He even gave them the little beads that Captain Jack wears in his hair as a souvenir. Had photos, did autographs, and then spent plenty of time doing the scenes with us, you know.
Amazing actor, very talented guy, a good friend again, and one of the nicest person I've ever met.
I think he's always, in pretty much every film he's done, he's likable. There's something very likable about him. He's a nice person, and I think that kindness and that fun comes across in anything he does.
Well, as everybody will tell you, he's the friendliest guy in the world. Because he's normal, straightforward, uncomplicated. And he likes a good time. He likes to play, he likes to have fun, he likes to have a drink, he likes to joke, he likes to dance, he likes to act. And you can see why, because he's not dependent, as some poor actors are in their image. He has a second string, he's a great guitarist, and he even has his own little group. So when people have a second string, they're often much more laid back and relaxed and calm. And what I liked about Johnny Depp was that when I met him, although he was like 100 years younger than me, I said because of his status, and I'm the biggest arse licker in the world, I said, oh, Mr. Depp, wonderful, I'm honored to meet you. He said, no, Steve, I am honored to meet you. And that was the first actor who ever said that to me. And he said, I know you and know your work. And I thought, oh my God, thank you, Miss Johnny. And he is a first class, I would say a first class sport.
Really generous as a scene partner, and I really appreciated that, especially because, you know, he didn't have to say nice things, and he really was very kind to me. So it definitely took him from being like this like star person that's very unrelatable to like, oh, he's just another actor, he's a scene partner, and that was really generous of him.
He's a great storyteller and just has this ability to make everyone feel like you should be here.
What was it like working with Johnny Depp? Anne.
Oh, it was great. I mean, super nice guy, real down to earth, and a phenomenal actor.
I loved working with him. I've been a huge fan, like everyone, for so long, and I just admire his talent. And he just didn't disappoint. It was a great experience.
He's a very simple man, beautiful soul, and a very professional actor. He gives absolutely everything to his work. He's very focused and very generous. You know, he's not in his bubble as sometimes, you know, big stars are. He's just a real pleasure, and he has a great sense of humor.
He's very reserved and humble, and he's nice. And so it makes it working with him very easy.
He's very easy to work with, very generous, and he has a real sort of ease about his own performance. There's a lot of room for you to do your thing and for him to catch it.
Johnny is so uniquely human and kind and generous and loving that it disarms you in a way that you don't feel awkward. Whereas I've been around other actors and their ego or their this or that, you all of a sudden get aware of your own self in a way. Whereas with Johnny, he's just so chill and so relaxed, it really relaxes you.
Johnny Depp playing that part, because on the page, it was an absolutely straight lead. There was none of the kind of Jack Sparrowness, none of the drunkenness, none of that was in there.
Keith Richards.
None of the Keith Richards was in there, and so the first time I saw it was at the read-through and just going, wow, you can make that from that. How does that imagination, is astonishing.
I mean, it's amazing to feel the love for him from the audience. Even not just feel it, but hear it. He could barely start his speech because everyone was screaming, "I love you, Johnny!" And it is kind of like being on stage with a rock star,
Exactly. He's got a magic thing, and he's a hell of a good actor.
Amazing actor, great, amazing actor.
He's an amazing actor, and his selection of parts is always really wild. And then what he does in the parts is very wild too. And he doesn't always do huge films, He sometimes picks some very little bizarre ones that he likes to do, and I like that. And he's not afraid to do that. But why should he be afraid? He's one of our best young actors.
I love his love of the work. You can tell that he's an actor who really, is inspired by and loves the work.
Gotta sign your papers, Morgan.
And I love what he's bringing to this character and the story.
There's something about him that is not explainable.
All I can tell you is he's a wonderful actor. He was a pleasure to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a pleasure to deal with on all aspects of Fantastic Beasts, and speaking to people who've worked with him in the past, and people who've known him, gone out with him, even been married to him.
Right.
They speak of him in glowing terms.
I'd have to say one of the things that was just really extra exciting for me was the opportunity to work with Johnny Depp. He was really great to work with, just an amazing talent, very, very professional, and I was really moved by how excited he was to be a part of this attraction.
He's a very thoughtful, literate man.
I did get to dance with Johnny ever so shortly, and he was just charming.
Johnny is he's a true genius, and when he works, he envisions the whole thing and the music that he wants to hear in his trailer.
He's so normal and just easygoing and down to earth.
But when I was with him, he just made me feel very calm and not really anxious.
I found him to be very accessible and very smart and funny and warm and very normal and very grounded. I was really impressed with him.
But he exceeded all expectations. Oh my word. I mean, I could tell you how he smelled, how he felt, because he did hug me twice.
Nice.
Oh my word, just the sound of his voice, just the look in his eyes, the manner in which he speaks, and I think I told myself ahead of time I really had to work hard to convey properly how much he meant to me, because I wanted to make it clear to him the impact that he's had on my life, because I love him so much, and I try to choose my words carefully, and I think he got it. And then he told me that he watches iCarly every day with his daughter. Oh, so that was awesome. And he's like, "You're going places, kid," and I was like, "Oh, Johnny."
I love Johnny. What makes him special? You did Donnie Brasco.
Yeah, and he's done so many things. I mean, he's gone from A to Z, it's his gifts. It's really his gifts. And as a personality and as a person, I just loved him. I loved him. I loved being with him because he made me laugh every day I was there. And he's a little nuts, too.
He's nuts?
Oh, yeah, he'll say I'm nuts, but he's really nuts. But he's nuts in that way that just, it's just fun to be with.
You have this very handsome, let's just be honest and say beautiful face.
He's this sort of rock star that's learned how to make people feel very comfortable around him, and he doesn't seem at all affected by his status in any way. If anything, he seems kind of uncomfortable by it, which is very endearing.
Yeah, he's very shy.
He's quirky. He's heart of gold, at least with me. I've always remembered Johnny as a really, really good guy with a really good heart and no bullshit. He speaks his mind, and extremely talented. Even back then, you could see already, this guy was, didn't have the experience and the mileage under his belt yet, but certainly the talent and the charisma is there.
He really is a great musician.
Yeah.
And when I first...
Very humble, too.
Been a fan of his, since I ever saw his movies and all that shit, and I saw him play guitar in that Chocolate. And I said, man, someday if I ever meet him, I gotta ask him to show me how to play that, because he's the real deal.
I had Johnny Depp's poster for many years. I love Johnny.
So you had it over your bed? Or where was you at the poster of in your house?
On your
somewhere?
ceiling.
No, it was above my bed.
Really?
On the jacket, it was hanging down like this.
Fall asleep with Johnny every night.
But I love Johnny, and I don't know, just when you're growing up, you choose your idols. Of course. And Johnny was one of them, so it was really great just to see him, to hug him.
Oh, he's enchanting. It's a very tough thing to play somebody who is created, other than the normal way. It's very difficult to do. What do you do? I mean, because you're an unreal character, and yet he's in very real situations. There are very few people who have scissors as hands, fortunately. But I've just heard the most wonderful things about him and his seriousness and the approach to this character. I must say I'm a great admirer, and working with him has been a joy.
He's a really nice guy. Yeah, I'm just so lucky to have been able to work with him twice. The way he treats everyone is amazing. He doesn't think he's better than anyone else at all.
He was very nice to me. He's a real gentleman. He knew that I was very nervous, and he told me that it would be okay, and he reassured me, and when he thought my accent was good, he would tell me, and it was very nice of him.
He's the most creative actor.
Thank you very much.
Quite staggeringly good. And a lovely man.
We're looking out.
He's one of the most special people in this planet, for sure.
I can't say more amazing things about him. He is one of the coolest and most humble guys I've literally ever met. And he goes out of his way to come in every morning and be like, hi, how are you? And kiss you on the cheek and be like, are you okay? How was your weekend? And he goes out of his way to be abnormally nice to you. And on top of that, I mean, what can you say more about his acting? It's Johnny Depp.
And if it wasn't for people like Peter and Johnny catching us, being our safety net, helping us, it's not like they just stopped whenever we got out of prison. They were there to catch us the day we got out, and they've helped us adapt and keep moving forward. But if it wasn't for them, we would have absolutely nothing. Not a change of clothes, not a place to sleep, nothing.
I mean, he's a stellar human being. I'm not going to paint a picture of him that's not true. He really is just a stellar human being. Now, I had done a movie with him before, and he would stand out in the rain, I'm not making this up, for hours after he worked a 12-hour, 14-hour day and sign everybody's autograph in the hail, right? And literally go systematically through. Nobody does that. Nobody needs to do that, but he would do that.
There's something magical about him. My kids call him Uncle Fun, and he is, when you are with him, you are pretty certain that nobody else is having as good a time as you are.
Johnny Depp, thank you for your talent, your professionalism, your goodness.
As I look at the horizon of actors who are coming up, and this is no disrespect to those actors, there's no one to follow in his wake. Because there was Chaplin, there was Lon Chaney Sr., Brando, and there's Depp.